I feel it. I feel it. I really love this movie, Paul. So beware. You know what happens when Jade really loves a movie. Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. That I disappoint you in so many ways.
But good evening, folks. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Jade.
And I'm Paul.
And this is Shall We Compare Thee, a remake and sequel podcast.
Except when it's not.
Yes. 'Tis the season to murder mystery, with Only Murders in the Building in full swing. And if you haven't yet, definitely give the show a watch. And then check out my other podcast, Perfectly Marvelous Only Murders in the Building. Links in the description.
Indeed. So we are temporarily switching gears to what we are calling our MVP series.
Yeah.
Murderers, villains, and private eyes.
Woo! Count me in, baby.
So it'll be a little less of the comparison podcast and a little more mystery.
Oh, I cannot wait. You know you want it, listeners. You know you love it. So we're giving it to you. So without further ado, let's talk about Clue.
So let's talk about this movie, this Clue movie. One of the first game movies that has ever come across. I mean, now we've had Battleship. Now we've had Barbie, the toy, and Twister. Well, that was a tornado thing, but
Transformers, right?
Transformers. Those are robots in disguise, guys. They're robots in disguise. They originally wanted Tom Stoppard to write it. Real Inspector Hound, one of my favorite plays doing in college.
Yeah, this was very funny to me to learn about the Tom Stoppard thing, that he was like, he was signed on to write it. He agreed. He tried for a year and then just couldn't.
I mean, Stephen Sondheim was attached to this for a moment. Our beloved Anthony Perkins was attached to this for a moment.
And can I just say, the scripts that they probably wrote together that never saw the light of day, I would give my left tit. I just would, like to see those, do the work that has gone unproduced from those two, because they were murder mystery, crazy heads. And The Last of Sheila, I know they had more in them. And it's tragic that we'll never see those scripts.
That's a good point. And as we get into this, I think this script could have used a little bit more of that real good mystery writing.
The humor was something that as a kid I had never seen before, and I didn't know that this was my sense of humor until I saw this film, and I was like, oh, this is my funny. This is me. This is my humor in a film.
I'm going to disappoint you on this.
No, it's okay. Speak your truth. Be you.
I laughed 4 times total in this whole movie, to the point where I could write down. I thought this movie was terribly directed, badly edited. The pacing of the jokes every joke seemed to be either held too long or too short. The first real laugh I had is when Jane Wheedlin gets shot. The singing telegram gets shot, because it's so abrupt, and that timing of that was perfect.
Yeah.
She gets through her one line, gunshot, fall down, we're over. And then I'll just go through them quickly. Yvette dead on the pool table, and they all go in, and they're so done with murders at this point that they just
they're just nonplussed.
Turn around. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. When somebody says there's been 6 murders and Tim Curry says this is getting serious. Hilarious. This is a knockout cast. I mean, there's no denying that. Michael McKean, Spinal Tap the year before, just amazing. Laverne and Shirley, Martin Mull from Fernwood Tonight. You've got Lesley Ann Warren, who I love, and Victor Victoria is one of my favorite movies. Tim Curry, of course, the Rocky Horror and all that. And it's a great, and
even
Christopher Lloyd at this point.
Your favorite Madeline Kahn. Did you say Madeline Kahn?
Oh, I haven't gotten to Madeline Kahn. we
Right.
always leave Madeline Kahn for dessert because but here is one of the problems with this movie. And I'll go back to the fact that I watched this movie in the theater. And I believe the ending that I saw was the first ending, the Miss Scarlet ending, if I remember correctly. But in most cities, they would have multiplexes, and you could choose. You go see your A ending, your B ending, your C ending.
Well, that got messed up. Did you know that?
And that got messed up, so that maybe you went to see the A ending one week, and then the next week you're like, let's try that C ending, and then it turned out to be the A ending again. So it was a
people were pissed. The ending thing did not work out.
Well, and the other problem too is that, like, the flames, the great flames thing.
Yes, I did it. I killed Yvette. I hated her so much. Flames.
I never saw
Only in one ending. Can you imagine?
I never saw it. So
tragic.
Later, like years later, I had a friend of mine quoting that to me, and I was like, "What is that from?" She's like, "It's from Clue." And it's like,
that's crazy.
I don't think that's from Clue. She's like, well, no, but she grew up watching it on VHS, DVD, on cable, where they put all the endings all in a row. So she got to see that. I never saw it. And it's like, oh my God, the only improv moment, and it's so brilliant, and it's not in the movie that I saw.
The only improv moment.
That stinks, guys. I mean, and did you think that I was going to go back and watch the movie next week, 85-minute movie, and then just for the 3 or 4 minute ending? I didn't.
The one thing that John Landis really wanted was his vision. He really kind of demanded it. You have to write the 4 endings. We're going to give them each to different theaters. And this is how it's going to, I'm seeing it. It's going to be a big hit. Everyone's going to love it. And it's like, that's the exact thing that was the movie's complete undoing, was the thing that he thought would sell it.
I mean, can you imagine now spending $15, $20 on a movie ticket and then being asked, hey, come back next week and see the entire movie except for the last 3 minutes. We're going to give you a different ending. And it's like, well,
this was also back in a time.
I'll wait until it's on cable, or I'll wait until it's on DVD or whatever, and then I'll watch your other endings.
This nowadays, this would never work, because God, who has that kind of money to go to the movies more than once, even if you love a movie? No. This was back in the day when you would go to see movies, like you would see them maybe 2 or 3 times a week. You could afford it, There were also not like on-demand things. So, no one was staying at home to watch movies. You had to go out and see them. So there was a higher chance that people would see it more than once. But no, even back then, even if I loved it as much as I do, I can't imagine that I would be running out to go see it again. I don't think, I don't know how anyone ever backed that choice, because it was not a good one, sadly.
There's another problem with that. You're trying to build a mystery, and you're doing only murders in the building right now. Can you imagine if you got to the last episode and there was 3 possible murderers, and all 3 were supposed to link up to all the evidence you've seen before? What you're telling me with 3 different endings is that none of that matters. None of it matters. And there's stuff that's introduced in those last 3 or 4 minutes that aren't introduced in the rest of the movie. There's 2 of those endings have the monkey brain stuff, but one of them doesn't. So that makes no difference. So you're asking, so then you're asking people to dive into this mystery when really you should just be asking them to dive into the comedy.
There's a reason that I quote this film more than any other film in my life. There's a reason that my sister and I would just have such fun memorizing these quippy lines and going back and forth together, and there's things that we will always say to each other that no one else will ever like get, unless you're a Clue fan. But like for some reason we just found, and then someone could have run into the study, picked up the dagger, run down the hall and stabbed the cook, and then I don't know why, just picked up the dagger. I don't know why, the way he says it, like the way Tim Curry enunciates his words just in this over the top random way, just really stood out to us. And it's that kind of humor that I that just flows through me as an adult today. It's like I am constantly inventing weird ways to say things because of Tim Curry in this film.
But you also share that with somebody that you watch that with. So there's that. I mean, this is good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm taking this movie apart. I'm taking this movie to task town. I know.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to do that, but
No,
at the
don't be
same time,
sorry.
it has nothing to do with the idea that, hey, you guys watched this movie growing up and you loved it. Fantastic. And it led you to other things. It opened up your world to other things. Sometimes you need that first hit, and then you find other things, and you're like, oh, that's the real stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's the good stuff.
fast talky. Like you were saying, His Girl Friday, that it's like comes out in my other favorite show that I podcasted on, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Gilmore Girls, like that real 1950s like radio announcer kind of like, hey, how you doing, man? La, 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 la. I got something to say to you. How you la, la, la. Like I just can't get enough of it. It is and like I said, as a kid, I did not know that this kind of humor existed until this film came into my world. So yeah, it really did a lot for me.
I could actually see if they were going to remake this, call Amy Sherman Palladino and say, do a pass, do a pass on this dialogue.
Oh, yes.
Here's what you do. You give her a pass, you put it on a streaming service, give us 6 endings for every character. 6? Is that right?
Yeah. 1 per character.
Make sure there's per character, and then make it choose your own adventure so that it's not a whole movie and then the last 3 minutes it's a winding road that you can go down. So you're actually kind of like playing the game to a certain extent. That would be a lot of fun.
It may be possible that that's what John Landis had in mind, that I think he was thinking, and that's what people will make of this.
The technology wasn't there at the time to do that,
and even if it was, it would be questionable whether or not it would be achievable. Yeah, there's nothing to Clue. It's just colors, names, board game. So they really did start from absolutely nothing. There's a lot of rolling of the dice they played with this. An inexperienced director and nothing as a baseline, as a premise to go on. They had to build it from nothing.
I thought it was very smart that they turned those play pieces into like code names. So that I thought that was a very smart touch at the beginning.
Pseudonyms.
It's like, yeah, and I also liked the scene where they all get the weapons. Although it's like, when I wanted like a little more reaction out of like, I got a wrench. Am I fixing something?
A lead pipe.
Yeah, a lead pipe. Are we plumbing? Is there a problem here? I mean, the noose and the gun and the knife, or and of course Lesley Ann Warren with the candlestick. She's like, what?
A candlestick? What's this for?
Yeah, what is this for?
It's true. She does have like the only line that in that moment where she gets to react with a line, and I just love her her so unenthused. Like, I enjoy getting presents from strange men, and then she's like, "What are you giving me this?" And it's funny. It is funny now that I'm thinking about it. Like the men have Martin Mull and Michael McKean. They have no expression, and they are kind of deadpan as actors anyway. Like they're not known for their facial expressions, but then you see Eileen Brennan holding that knife and she's like, I've never held a dagger in my life. And then you see Madeline Kahn and she's just like with those big wide eyes, like looking at this rope. Like I remember watching her face in that moment as a kid and being like, she's kind of scary. What's going to happen? Like she was a little spooky, like a ghost or something,
I would like you to tell me who your favorite performance was.
When I was talking about Lesley Ann Warren, I meant it, and I was realizing how impressed I am with her as an actor. Right, I can only see movies from the point of view of the actors, and this film is memorized. It's imprinted. It is copied into my brain. It lives rent free. I pay it to live in my brain. That's how good. That's how much I want it in there.
Wow, that's good. That's good living right there.
Truly, and there's never a moment when Miss Scarlet wasn't speaking to me as a kid. And it's not just because she was my aspiration as a little girl. Like, I think I want to be like her, the pretty lady, like she and sexy and like dangerous and like all things that Jade grew up to mess around with, and yeah, I got into a lot of trouble, let's just say, because Miss Scarlet was my, like, life goals.
Yeah.
Mistakes we make.
She's your
So
origin story.
kinda, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I always had my sights set on a Miss Scarlet. Like, I wanted to get with a Miss Scarlet, and I kind of wanted to be that Miss Scarlet.
Sure.
And I think the thing about her that I love the most is her awareness of the ensemble. I feel that she's such a team player in this. I mean, they all are, like, they really all are. But her generosity and her attention that she is always giving to her other actors. She was the one who, because I can imagine Tim Curry, right, during this film, it's been said he's always busy. He's stressed as fuck. The man hasn't eaten, he hasn't slept, he's sweating bullets, like, he's just, all he's focused on is, am I going to memorize this and the next line? And because everyone for the whole second half of this film is pretty much just standing in Tim Curry's take while the camera rolls, and they're just watching him perform.
Yeah.
So connecting, being the one actor who can really stand out in every moment of this film and connect with Wadsworth. Miss Scarlet and Wadsworth have a thing, an unspoken thing. They're dialoguing and there's no lines for them. And for her to probably tirelessly stick it out with Tim Curry, because on the set you can walk off when the camera, it's not your coverage. Sure. Like, you don't have to stick around and support. But I can just see that Lesley Ann Warren is that actor who stuck around and supported. And that's why those invisible vibrations were coming from Tim Curry over to her. And they were always finding ways to side-eye each other. So it just says a lot about her as an actor, but also her as a person. So that is why I will have to go with Miss Scarlet.
That's a good
Lesley Ann Warren.
I mean, I'm going to go for the obvious one. I'm going to go Tim Curry. Just as I've said before, he really does shoulder this baby through. And it's, as you just said, given so much to do. I mean, it is some heavy lifting that he has to do. And setting aside the endings, which kind of undercut everybody, that is such a great performance in just energy. And he's still playing the mystery of it in a satisfying way. Like, he doesn't go full comedy. There's still parts of it where he is really playing that mystery. And I really do appreciate that. I'm really mad at them for not letting Madeline Kahn off the leash a little bit more. I thought I want to see, because when she gets to play, I don't feel like they give her really much time to play in this. And I thought that was a bad.
Oh, no, totally not. She is criminally underused. And I always felt that way. Always felt that way. Yeah.
I think that wraps up our conversation on Clue. A rave from Jade, a less than rave from Paul. Yes.
We're going to get a lot of that as well as we do this MVP series. We're going to get a lot of Jade just loves it because nostalgia, because murder mystery. It's like, it's just my shit, man. It is my shit. Yeah. One man's trash,
I want to listen to you love it. That's what I want to do. And I will try not to stomp all over your treasure.
I might even be able to get you to love it more. I mean, do you love Clue a little bit more now after talking to me about it?
No.
Probably do.
But
no, actually, not at all.
No, because I'm enjoying
I love your honesty,
listening
Paul.
to you. I'm enjoying listening to you love it, and that's great. There's plenty of movies out there that I absolutely adore that I would not expect anybody else to love.
Yeah.
So it's again, if you grew up with it, it's nostalgia, it's the entry to your passions, it's everything.
Oh,
and for me, it's a movie that I saw when I was 17, didn't think much of it then and didn't think much of it now. And both of those takes are fine, everybody. Love the thing you love and go from there. Yeah. There's no mystery. There's no mystery to that.
Love what you love and be proud. Be who you are. Let your freak flag fly.
Absolutely.
I never apologize for loving Clue.
But thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to us pontificate about Clue. And we're going to pick out another murder mystery movie soon and get that back up for you as well. Don't forget, guys, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Shall we compare the all one word? We'd love to hear from you as well. Feedback, message, Instagram, Faceback. Are you guys on Faceback now?
The back of your face.
You really should get on Faceback, everybody. Or if you're not, how about Facebook? Or you can just email us. Emails a thing still. Shall we compare @gmail.com. We also really love voicemails.
Yes, I love a voicemail. Good voicemail in the morning. Nothing like it.
And for even more bonus content, you can go to patreon.com/perfectly marvelous podcast and listen to all of our Shall We Compare These and Perfectly Marvelous podcast ad free. That means no ads, guys. That's none.
And
you can see full videos of us talking and so many other good things. So go to that Patreon, buy Jade that cup of coffee she so richly deserves.
Yeah. Screw Starbucks. Throw it to me for a day. All right, guys, that's it for Clue. If you like the video, then whack that like button. And if you really like us, then give that subscribe button a good spanking. Thank you so much for being here with us. Until next time, I'm Jade.
I'm Paul.
Bye-bye.